How's it going, friends? Today I'm going to walk you through a bit of an instructional video to show you a bit more of a how-to format of the 3 audiences that I recommend everyone try with their Facebook ads. So if you need a quick brief and you didn't see the previous video about these 3 types of audiences that you probably haven't tried recently, I'll give you a quick overview right now. One of them was what we call a super lookalike, which is basically all of your lookalikes bashed into one ad set. The second was a broad parent interest, which is the largest interest that houses all of the littler ones within it, if you want. And the last and the third audience was a open targeting, which is zero targeting. So I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to set that up today. So let's go. So as with all wonderful things in Facebook marketing land, we start within the ads manager itself. But before actually setting this up, we do need to create these audiences. You're going to spend the majority of your time creating the lookalike audiences, but it won't take too long. There's just going to be some key differences between those of you doing lead gen or e-commerce, and I'll point those out. So we head on over to the audience section. That's going to bring up this screen. And let's say that we're going to set up our lookalike audiences for, let's say, anyone looking to generate leads. Okay, so probably the first one you're going to want to use is you need to create a custom audience of people on your website who have been to the website, which means that you have to have a Facebook pixel installed there. There's another video for that if you don't have that installed. But we're going to click on that. We're going to go next. I'm going to go all website visitors on my pixel for the max days, which is 180 days. This dashboard has changed yet again, so it might look different. We're going to call this 180 days WSV. And create audience. That's our first custom audience we're creating. This is also new, so you can go ahead and create a lookalike audience from this if you want, or it looks like we can go through and create another custom audience straight away. What I've found is that if I click on this, it usually doesn't work, which it doesn't, because it doesn't pull across the custom audience, unfortunately. So what I like to do is your new custom audience is going to be right here at the top. Click the tick box, click the 3 dots, go create lookalike, and then you can see it pulls across the custom audience. Then we're going to put in our country. You're going to need to have separate countries for each lookalike. I pull this all the way to 10%. And the reason behind that is I want these audiences to be as big as humanly possible, or unhumanly possible, I'm not sure. And then we repeat that process for every custom audience that we have. So as an example, create audience, custom audience, we might upload a customer list. So maybe your most valuable customers or clientele, the people who've spent the most money with you. Maybe people who are currently clients, however you see fit really, but you'd upload a customer list and then you would create a 10% lookalike within the country of that customer list. Again, you would create this is going to be a good one for me. I would definitely recommend everyone do this. We'll create a custom audience of people who've watched videos over the past 365 days, at least 75%, and then go through and choose all of your videos. And I'm really just looking for the ones that have the most views. All of these are organic content, so they don't really have that much in the way of views. But we skip over to different pages, and we've got here that's nearly 50,000 views. We'll take that. We'll also take this one, which is 1,200. Keep going along. 7,000, we'll take that. 1,500, we'll take that. We'll take that. And I think for this demonstration, I might just leave it there, yeah? And 30 seconds, I guess I'll take that. I guess I would limit only choosing videos that are at least 30 seconds for this particular exercise, right? Then we'll go confirm. We'll call this audience videos, 365 days, 75% watched only, and go create audience. And then rinse and repeat that process to create the lookalikes for that. Now, another lookalike that you definitely want to create, first you've got to create the custom audience, is if you use lead forms, which most of you probably do if you generate your own leads or generate leads of clients, is to create a custom audience of lead forms that anyone who has opened the form, create that separately and create a separate lookalike for that, 10%. And then also people who opened and submitted. So now you've got people who opened, sorry, I should correct that. People who opened but didn't submit, and people who opened and did submit. 2 different custom audiences, and therefore 2 different lookalike audiences that you would create Leave it on 90 days. You need to go through and search all the lead forms that you've created. So put them all in there. Name it, create the audience. Here's another one for you. You create a custom audience of people who have engaged with your Facebook page past 365 days. Just leave it on that and name it accordingly. Custom audience of people who've engaged with your Instagram account past 365 days. Name it accordingly. And that's pretty much all I'd recommend for any of you looking to generate leads. Now, for those of you in e-commerce, you would do pretty much all the same, except you probably wouldn't do lead forms unless you're building email lists. But you would go through and you would also create website next. And you would also create events and you would choose purchase. Get everyone who has purchased from you in the past 180 days, name the audience, and I would probably recommend you also do the same for people who have initiated checkout. I don't have one because this isn't an e-commerce site, but you'll see initiate checkout there. So for those of you in e-commerce, you do exactly the same, minus the lead generation lead form custom audience, but you would also create a custom audience of people who purchase in the past 180 days, and also a custom audience of people who have initiated the checkout sequence in the past 180 days, and you would create your lookalike audiences from there. Now we get to the fun stuff of actually creating some stuff. That's probably the bulk of what we'll have to do here. So when we create this campaign, I definitely recommend that you use proven ads for this, ads that have proven to work in the past for this particular test. We're going to go create. I'm going to use conversions. Continue. You can use whatever objective you're currently using and seeing results with, by the way. And then as I go down, I'm going to go next. And I'm going to select my pixel. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use LG Training Submit, use an event. I'm going to use Dynamic Creative. And this first audience we're going to create is our lookalike, our super lookalike, I should say. So we're going to choose all the lookalikes that we created then. So as we all know, we have a 10% lookalike for 180 days. You'll be able to identify these very quickly because they'll say 10%. Most of you probably aren't using 10% lookalikes. So we're going to click on that, and then we're also going to click on where on earth has it gone? I don't know. Oh, I didn't create lookalikes of all that. But you would add all your lookalikes there, right? Completely forgot. So let's say I've added all my lookalikes there. I'll leave all the targeting on. If you're using this test in different countries, you need to create lookalikes in the separate countries. I'm targeting Australia, so this is fine. But if I now wanted to target the United States, I'd have to go back, recreate the lookalikes for the United States. If I wanted to advertise in the UK, I'd have to do the same and then include them in here and then advertise to these three countries, those three countries, I should say, in the one ad set. Just want to be really clear on that. As we go down, leave automatic placements on, please. You'll get better results. And then as we go next, we're just going to create an ad as we normally would. So I'm just going to breeze through this very quickly. Wonderful. So now we've got our campaign in review. We've created an ad. You can see it here. It's under review. What we're going to do now is create the other two audiences that were talked about. So we click into the campaign section. All we're going to do is use the same ads. We're going to duplicate this audience. Should have duplicated it twice, really. And we're going to name this, broad INT, broad interest. Now let's say my clientele, for example, is pretty much only ever business owners. So what I'm going to do is eliminate the lookalikes from this duplicated ad set, and I'm going to leave it on Australia. I'm going to leave the age brackets open, and I'm just going to enter one or two interests in there, which is going to be the parent interest. Now, this is where some of you need to pay a bit more attention. If we just take note, the size of that audience of people interested in business is 1.1 billion, okay? That's how you know that is the parent interest. So when it comes to business, all of these smaller ones down here, small business, they still come under business. That's the parent interest. You can tell because it's probably going to be the one that comes up first when you start typing, the overarching thing that people are interested in that's going to draw them towards your business, right? So keep that in mind. I'm going to select that one, but I'm also going to select marketing because that is huge. Well, not as huge as I thought it was. And funnily enough, that actually falls under business anyway, so now I don't actually have to select that. There you go. Just found that out then. So we're going to leave that one on. All we simply have to do here is click publish. And now our secondary audience of a broad parent interest is now under review. So now that that's under review, the third and final is simply, and the easiest, is simply just to duplicate the ad set, erase the interest, and leave it on open targeting. Now, really quickly, if you didn't watch the original video, I'd recommend you go back and watch it, mainly so you can get your head around the method behind the madness, if you want, behind what I'm about to mention. But we're going to call this open T, and the open targeting is going to have no interests whatsoever. We're going to edit this, and we're going to X out of it, and we're going to click publish, and that's pretty much it. Now, the reasoning behind that is because as that algorithm learns more about who is interacting with your ads, buying your products online, or perhaps filling out lead forms, or filling out inquiry forms, or booking discovery calls, all of that wonderful stuff, that algorithm learns, and even though it's open targeting, will begin to show that to people who are most likely to complete your objective. So whichever objective you've selected, funnily enough, that's what Facebook goes after. And you might just find, well, you will find that you are going to be hitting segments of an audience that you haven't previously been hitting because you've been excluding it by choosing all your interests or only using certain lookalikes of certain percentages and all those sort of things. So these are 3 very, very worth your while audiences to test. Let me know how you go in the comments below. If you have any questions, let me know. And also, if you want to book a free chat, talk about your ads, talk about strategy and all of that wonderful stuff, feel free to do that as well. Talk to you soon. See ya.